When I was 12, riding my mini bike with the older kids in the neighborhood felt like being inducted into some secret club. They had real bikes, big, fast, loud, and I had mine, tiny and sputtering like a frog with a cold. But somehow they let me tag along. I felt important, like I was their tiny, wobbly sidekick on a mission that only 12-year-olds could fully appreciate. I spent most of the ride trying to look cool, leaning way too far into turns and pretending I could handle the hills like they did. Every bump made me squeal and wobble, but I grinned through it, hoping they wouldn't notice I was barely keeping up. Eventually, headed into the woods, following trails that seemed to go on forever. Somewhere deep in the trees, I attempted to lead us over a shortcut, I'd imagined, which promptly ended with me crashing into a pile of leaves and thorns while the older kids screamed with laughter. I may have been the smallest, slowest, and most accident-prone, but that day, laughing, racing, and getting hopelessly lost, I felt like I belonged to something epic.
Hi everyone, my name's Ryan and welcome to the Best of and the Worst of Experience. You might be a little unsure what you clicked on, what this channel is all about, but we take some stories, we take some personal experiences, we add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and hopefully you got something out of it. Maybe a laugh, something, maybe it reminded you of something that happened to you when you were younger. I can relate to that story because that was my story. That was one of my personal experiences. I had a mini bike, older kids in the block. I tried and tried. I thought they were so cool, and it was some of the greatest times of my life, for sure. But anyway, so stick around. We got some more videos coming up. Oh, also, I saved my favorite video for the last one, so that should be a good one. You'll have to stick around and check that out. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Bye.
I went to the city a few years back to check it out, the way people did then, with a backpack, a paper map already obsolete, and a romantic belief that grit counted as culture. I'd been told the subway was an attraction in itself. Graffiti murals racing through tunnels, performers with questionable rhythm, and the thrill of mild danger included at no extra charge. The robbery began between Canal and Houston, which felt on brand. A man slid into the seat beside me. Trench coat, serious face, the kind of mustache that suggested both menace and unemployment. He leaned in and announced, at a whisper far louder than necessary, that he was robbing me. I nodded politely, like he'd just pointed out the next stop. I know what a finger pressed into my back feels like, so I figured if he was dumb enough to think I wouldn't notice the difference, maybe he was dumb enough to take my lunch and believe it was my wallet. He did. He walked away. I got off at the next stop and went the other direction. Tourist, I said. Authentic experience. I no longer had a sandwich. I still had my wallet. It was supposed to be a night to remember. I came to celebrate graduating college with some friends, and things took a turn for the worse. A performer named Harley collected $50 for a private dance, and then disappeared. When I asked the bartender about it, she came out and told me I never gave Harley any cash. After that, Harley refused to acknowledge me at all when I approached her. Needless to say, I won't be coming back. Now, I wish I could forget that night. When I was a kid, my brother and I were at this kid Michael's house. It was a brutal Australian summer day, the kind of heat where your brain shuts down and the garden hose becomes a trusted source of hydration. We'd been tearing around outside, and finally sprinted to the side of the house, racing for the hose like it was the last oasis on Earth. Michael got there first. He snatched it up and started drinking straight from the hose, wearing this smug, victorious grin, like he'd personally invented water. Then his eyes bulged, full white of the eyes panic. He stopped, froze, and started crying. When he opened his mouth, a biblical swarm of baby spiders came crawling out, hundreds of them, spilling over his lips, down his face, onto his neck. Apparently, there were spider eggs in the hose. Michael learned a valuable lesson that day. The rest of us learned it was very, very funny.
And that is how you get scarred for life with spiders. You'll be deathly afraid of them. You'll avoid them at all costs. And then you'll find out that spiders mostly come out at night. So the daytime you don't see any spiders, they're there. And they come out at night and they've got a thing for ears. And so they'll burrow in your ear and then they'll lay their eggs in your ears. And once you learn that, you'll never be the same. Oh, and they also procreate by masturbation. So look at my ears. I'm definitely scared of spiders. Anyway, to the next set of videos. Bye.
I remember being a little kid when my mom took us to an old Civil War jail camp reenactment in Richmond. At 5 years old, my world was basically Lego, juice boxes, and stick fighting. So walking into that crumbling jail felt like stepping into another lifetime entirely. The men sitting around the yard barely looked alive. They were pale, hollow-eyed, slumped in the shadows as if they'd been waiting there forever. Then one of them suddenly stood up and ran. He didn't shout, didn't look back, just sprinted like something unseen was chasing him. The guards raised their rifles, and the crack of the gunshot echoed off the stone like lightning in a cave. The man collapsed, and every kid around me absolutely lost it. We thought we'd just watched a real man die. My mum grabbed us and dragged us out while the gunshot still rang in my ears. Thanks, Mom. Nothing like a light-hearted family outing to a ghost-soaked prison full of simulated murder to shape a child's psyche. I once went to an Asian hot wings place known for serving chicken coated in some incredibly powerful spice powder. It's basically a finish these wings and earn bragging rights kind of challenge. I used my fingers like a normal person, and within minutes, I was teary-eyed, sweaty, and questioning my life choices. About 20 minutes later, I headed to the restroom. I had my period, so I needed to change my tampon. Where I'm from, tampons don't come with applicators. You just, well, take care of things manually. Let me just say this. Those spices do not belong anywhere near sensitive skin. The moment I tried to put the new one in, it felt like I had set off a tiny firecracker. I couldn't leave the stall. I was actually crying and trying to remember every life decision that had led to this point. Eventually, I had to call my daughter to bring me wet paper towels so I could carefully wash the area. I spent about 30 minutes in the restroom before I felt like I could stand up without bursting into flames. When I finally emerged, I walked out of there like a slow-motion cowboy in an old western. Legs apart, zero dignity, but very, very relieved to be alive.
And that's the ball game. Thanks for sticking around watching the whole thing. We hope you liked it. If you did like it or you have something you want to say, please comment your comment in the comment section. I've got some links up. We've released 5 episodes all at once, so make sure you check those out, and I'll see you guys next time.